I will never forget the day in eighth grade when I came home from school. And I remember walking back to my room and seeing this charger block on my floor. And this charger block doesn't have any real significance. I just remember looking at this, standing there, dropping my backpack, and thinking, I do not like the way I feel right now. In that moment, that feeling I had when I was just staring at that charger block standing in my room was one of the worst feelings I've ever had, because I didn't like how I felt in that moment. And I didn't know what it was. So eventually I went up to my parents and I started talking to them about it, and I just broke down in tears. I was upset, and I felt this weird feeling of being upset. And I think one of the worst parts about it was that I didn't know how to describe how I felt. So eventually I went to the doctor, and they gave me like this test, basically this like fill in the blank test. And it was basically like numbered out of, I think it was 10. And it was like, do you feel this way? Yes or no, or, 1 to 10. And at the end, they were like, yeah, you have depression and anxiety. And those feelings are very real, but I hate the medical side of it, because a lot of these doctors genuinely want to help you, but it's the system behind those doctors that tries to tell a bunch of young kids that they're depressed and that there's something wrong with them. And when I was in eighth grade, basically the way I was talked to made it feel like there was something wrong with me. Like, oh, you're depressed, you're anxious, there's something different about your brain chemistry. And I think for some people that's definitely true, but honestly for me, I just didn't know. And so eventually they said, there's this medicine that we have that'll make you feel better. So I'm like, perfect. I was like totally on board with taking medication when I was young because of how bad I felt. So I ended up taking this medication for, I think like 6 years, dude. Like 6 years I was on a depression and anxiety medication. Basically until sophomore year of college. Yeah. Like I was on this thing like for that long. And so when I was on this, it made me feel so much better at first. I took it, and 2 weeks later I was like, man, I feel great. But the problem is that eventually I started thinking that I was upset about how I was relying on a pill to make me feel like life was worth living. And I did not like that. And then I started realizing that this pill was making me feel not depressed, not anxious, but it wasn't making me feel happy either. It was almost numbing me. And I started not being able to feel normal human emotions. So an example that I've heard before is there's no good without the bad, there's no bad without the good. So when you're depressed, you're going to be happy eventually because you know what depression is like. And so both need to live in your life so that you can feel each thing. So when I took this medication, it made the depression go away. But I ended up feeling nothing because it made everything balance all the time. I hated that. I hated feeling controlled by a pill. So eventually I was like, I'm done taking this. I'm done taking it. I hated feeling nothing more than I hated feeling depressed. Because at least when I was depressed, the happiness was euphoric. As humans, we're supposed to feel a bunch of things. And that's my next point. That being a human, you're signing up for feeling a little bit depressed about something. Maybe you feel a little anxious about something. That's called being a human. So that I eventually was just like, I hate feeling numb. I'm throwing this pill away. And eventually, over time, the depression and anxiety kind of came back. But then I started learning how to deal with it like a human should. And now I have anxious times. I have depressed times sometimes. But so does everyone else. And now I can kind of feel all the human emotions. So I was able to essentially beat depression and anxiety naturally, just by knowing that humans are meant to feel that way. So I am strongly against depression and anxiety medication because I hate that people are trying to profit off of human emotions. Just feel it. Feel it all. Because when you're depressed, you're also going to feel happy. That's the nice thing. And that's how I beat depression and anxiety, by throwing away my medication. Simply by understanding that those are normal human emotions. And if you're ever feeling depressed or anxious, you will get through it, and there are good times ahead of you in life. I promise. You'll get through it, because the happiness when you're depressed is great. So just learn to be human. And that's how I did it. I hope this helps you, and I hope this gives you insight. Being a human and being alive is great. And some of those bad emotions come with it. So just learn to embrace it and live. Thank you for watching.